No.
Please just let me go.
It's not your time. You were gonna come back from this.
The first topic we're going to discuss is, will Carol want to live, and how will Morgan cope with all lives not being precious?
Okay, so what do you think about the Carol / Morgan thing?
Well, I think Carol most likely has the most going on in that predicament. Unless Morgan fools us somehow, he seemed pretty confident in the decision he made. Listen, all life is precious, but here's a person who there's no time to discuss. He's gonna kill somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a done deal. And there was nothing else Morgan could do. Literally, he had no other options. Just like when he was building the jail cell and Rick is like, hey, look, what are you doing this for? Or no, he just said why, because, you know, Rick, he only needs one word. He's like, why? And then Morgan's like, maybe it'll give you more choices next time. Morgan didn't have any choices, so I don't think he's going to be that crushed. But I do think this is going to be something that he deals with, you know, obviously, because Carol did tell him, you're going to have to go through it too, and boom, a few minutes later, he went through it too. But I think Carol, she needs something to bounce back, and I'm thinking because the people that found her from the kingdom were I'm assuming it's going to be something in that story that's going to help Carol bounce back. It might even be Ezekiel.
I agree with everything you're saying. I know both of us, Kelly and I, we were worried that Carol was kind of going down a road of a suicidal road. Mm-hmm. And I really like the way that they've changed this up, and it was kind of more of a Morgan had to show that he could kill in this episode to save Carol, which is a really cool thing. I'm super glad that it happened, because I was sick and tired of people giving Morgan shit all the time. Yeah. Like, the dude's a badass. It's just they didn't know how to use him this season, it seemed like. I don't know. I have issues with how they used him overall in season 6. But as far as for Carol and Morgan, for me, I think that for both of them, the introduction of Negan is going to reinvigorate them in both ways. But I also think that it may cause... It's going to be difficult for Morgan, I think, in a world with somebody like Negan. Because with all lives being precious, I don't see how he's going to be able to figure out how this dude's life is precious at this point.
No. I mean, I don't know where Morgan's going to stand on taking Negan down, because I do believe that Morgan is in the story, or they're crafting his story to fit into the comic book translation with that jail cell. So I do believe that Morgan isn't going to want to kill Negan, but I do feel like he's definitely going to want to stop him or help stop him. And going to war might just be the only thing to do that. So it is tricky with Morgan. It absolutely is, because on one hand, he has to stop Negan. On the other hand, he doesn't want to kill everyone to do it, you know?
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like he's ever going to get to the point where he's going to creep in while people are sleeping and stab them in the head. But I think as with all of us, it's so much easier in the heat of the battle, you know, to take somebody out. So he seemed like he was pretty much okay. He didn't really seem bothered to me. I think he seemed like he felt good. He felt good because he got to say, you know, Carol, it's not your time.
Which was nice. And he said, you're going to come back from this.
Yeah.
Which I think she will. I agree with you, Ronnie, that I think that this new place that they're going to go to is definitely going to put her on the right path, because we can see right away the dude that is basically extending his handshake to Morgan just got shot at by these same people. Yeah. Now I don't know if he even noticed. I mean, he knew that Rick missed him, but I don't know if he necessarily saw that the reason he missed is because Morgan knocked his hand up at the same time that he was shooting. I don't know about that, but if anybody shot at me, it would be really difficult for me to say, oh, it's okay, I'm going to help you guys out. So I think right there, I think Carol's going to be in a good spot. I don't think that these are people that are going to make her feel threatened to where she's going to feel like she has to kill them in order to survive, how she's felt with every savior person that she's ran into, where they just won't let her be. I like the way that it kind of paralleled what was going on with Rick's group, in the sense of where Morgan and Carol were coming on to that, wherever they were at, whatever little town that they came into, but it was that same town there where the guy that I don't know this freaking guy's name, it's driving me nuts, but Stephen Ogg's character, the guy
they didn't give him a name.
He was torturing. Yeah, they didn't give him a name, but it was cool how Carol and Morgan, the town that they came up on, it was the same exact place that the guy was getting tortured the entire time. That's where he was from. So that was neat. It was a nice little addition to the story.
Not neat for all the people that were in that town, or for the guy that got tortured a lot, but for us as people viewing.
Yeah, you know what? Speaking of that, I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch my review, but I noticed something that I really love. Not only does Morgan cut the guy down that fired the first shot, as the Stephen Ogg's character put it, but and they stayed at the library, but there was also a castle picture on the wall, kind of an Easter egg at the kingdom, I feel. But not only that, when Carol leaves, Morgan goes after her, and he sees this the rosary on the ground, and there's an X in the road. Like I don't know if it was carved in there or that was just spray paint, but there was an X there next to a body, and the guy's head, it wasn't a walker because there was a huge puddle of blood, but the guy had his head bashed in. And if you look at it, Stephen Ogg wrote, or that other guy next to him put an X on that guy that Rick and them were talking to. Remember the guy he tortured?
Yeah.
And then he threw him over the bridge. So here you have them putting an X on him, and then later we see Morgan with a guy that clearly had his head bashed in by Negan, and there's an X on the ground next to that dead body. And I'm wondering if that all matches up somewhere. Maybe in season 7 when they open up, Negan will put an X on the ground and kneel the person on the X, because it seems like it matches up in that way. Or at least the X is some kind of odd symbol for, you're about to die.
Yeah, because I thought it was really odd, I mean, they spray paint that dude and with an X, I guess, and I was like, why are they doing this? This is, it's got to be one of those things.
It's a dick move right here, just messing his shirt up after you try to kill him.
So yeah, I guess that would work.
I do agree with you, Ronnie, that it's very interesting. I didn't know what the significance was of whenever they spray painted the guy. It was just kind of weird, because it does make sense in the sense that if that's where Negan kneels people down, because that guy that Morgan came up on, he looked like he had been beaten down pretty badly, like maybe with a bat.
Yeah, I took screen caps of it and I put the brightness up, and he definitely was beat to death by Negan. It doesn't make any sense that he wouldn't be, because, like I said, his head was just opened up and there was blood everywhere.
That's never good. I don't know if I want to see one of my favorite characters on the TV show look like that, but we may get it. Who knows?
It could happen.
Yeah, it could happen. Do you guys have any other thoughts on will Carol want to live, and how? I think Morgan's going to cope just fine. It's whether or not Carol's going to ultimately want to live. She wanted to die pretty darn badly in this episode.
You know what? You said something that I'm thinking about now. If you take something you said and something I said earlier and blend it together, it seems to be a nice mix. Remember how I said something at the kingdom, since she's in that story, it has to, help bring her back, so to speak, in Morgan's words. Well, you also said, look at this guy. He got shot at by these people, and he still was like, okay, it's all good. Let's get her some help. Well, if you look at that, okay, the guy got shot at by these same people, technically, even though Carol wasn't there anyway, and he's still willing to help them, no questions asked. Now, given what's happening, more than likely he knows about the Saviors, and then he knows maybe they're roughing it out with the Saviors, so maybe these people are, a very extremely peaceful community, or they want to be peaceful under the circumstances. And that could help Carol see something different, because in Alexandria it doesn't have that just a peaceful community feel to it. You know what I'm saying?
No, too much shit has gone down, it seems like, in Alexandria.
Yeah.
There's too much
And
blood in the street for her.
Yeah.
the idea that somebody's going to walk up and shake your hand in this world, I mean, it just doesn't happen. And that's why it felt so odd for him to stick his hand out. I mean, my first reaction would have been like slapping it, get that back. So I think they're just really, really good people. Someplace that goodness will be rewarded.
Yeah, I mean, well, the gang came up on Alexandria, and for the most part, they were all pretty good. I mean, you had Porch Dick Pete, which was an asshole, and then Ethan Embry's character. I don't even know if I would classify him as an asshole. He was
which
just
gang
scared.
are you talking about?
Which what?
Oh, you're talking about when the people in Alexandria.
Yeah, the people in Alexandria, because we do come upon some nice people every now and then. Not a lot of times in the world of The Walking Dead. I mean, even Herschel was kind of a dick.
Oh, exactly. I mean,
whenever
to me,
they first met him.
This seems like the only group that's ever been just super welcoming.
Yeah.
Not only just the people per se, because I might have worded that wrong, but I'm thinking more along the lines of Carol's history with it. Like in her head, she's walking in Alexandria. She's always gonna have that on her mind, that reminder of what went down. If she can go to a different community, like this new community with people who are very peaceful, that just live to live, but they help each other out, and she can see a different way of living, plus it's in an area that doesn't have constant reminders of having to kill to survive. I mean, I'm reaching, of course, because I don't know what they're gonna do with her story, but I do believe the new community's definitely gonna play a part in that. But I feel like it could be something to help bring her back.
Yeah, and it seems like they can protect themselves. And I mean, like you said, whenever Carol came into Alexandria, she immediately saw the weakness of these people and couldn't fathom like how these people were still surviving, even though she assimilated herself quite well. And I think a lot of people pointed out whether or not it was she assimilating to basically disguise herself, or was she assimilating to try and escape? Because maybe she started down this path of where it was really torturing her and not wanting to kill a little bit earlier than we all thought. Because it did sometimes it seemed like it was a little jarring if you were just watching, week to week. It's just like, man, she just kind of snapped, and all of a sudden now she doesn't want to kill people, and she's kind of going off the deep end. But it may actually have started in season 5, whenever they first came into Alexandria. So
I feel like it started in season 4. There's a really odd moment that I picked up on well before season 6, where when Rick is having that talk with her about killing Karen and David, Carol gets very emotional. And it's not that she's being kicked out. You can tell, like, she's on the verge of just breaking at that moment. And then Rick is like, listen, you got to fall back. So if you count those little moments, there are little moments where you can tell that she was putting up a front, which fits beautifully if you look at the writing, if that's where they were going with it way back then,
I like to think that they were. I like to think that they've, at the very least, maybe they haven't crafted all the fine details of the story, but as far as the story, like the character arcs of the story, I think that I'd like to think that they have that well in advance. But no, that's just me hoping, I guess. Well, are you guys ready to move on to the next topic?
Yeah,
next topic.
All right, next topic.
read your text. It says next topic.
Oh, excuse me. Excuse me.